Mom always said that the best hairstyle for a girl is a bald head. Clean, neat, and easy to manage. And you wouldn't have time to waste seducing men. From childhood until high school graduation, I sported a shiny, bald head and endured strange looks from everyone. The summer after graduating high school, I threatened to kill myself to finally get the chance to grow my hair out. The night before I was scheduled to leave for university, Mom shaved my head again while I was sleeping. A blood-curdling scream echoed from the bathroom sink in the early morning. I frantically grabbed at my scalp, which had once again been shaved to a grayish stubble, and became hysterical like a madwoman. Mom, hearing the noise, came out of the kitchen wielding a spatula and kicked me in the lower back. "What's all the yelling about? Do you want to wake up the whole neighborhood this early in the morning?" I stumbled from the force of the kick, and my stomach slammed against the edge of the bathroom sink. I barely felt the pain as I turned and shouted incoherently at Mom. "Don't I deserve to have hair? Is it a crime for me to have hair? Do you have to see me dead before you're happy?" Mom scoffed dismissively. "Go ahead and die then. I've never seen a kid threaten their own mother with death every single day." Her indifferent tone felt like punching a pillow. Thinking back to my previous protest, the razor blade in my hand had already broken the surface of the skin on my wrist, just a step away from the artery. It was then that Mom reluctantly nodded and agreed that I could decide what to do with my hair from then on. I celebrated finally winning a battle for myself on the day I became an adult. That summer, I watched the stubble on my head grow longer every day, enduring the excruciating itch as the tips of the hair first emerged. I was fulfilled and happy as I thought about my upcoming life at university. I thought my parents loved me after all. Maybe they just didn't realize how much I cared about my hair. Faced with my emotional outburst, they would still compromise for me. Now that I think about it, Mom didn't care about my life or death at all. She just wanted to give me hope first and then crush it with her own hands, to consolidate her authority over me, to make sure I remembered for the rest of my life that I could never escape her control. The commotion from my argument with Mom attracted Dad. He paused, startled, when he saw my head in front of the mirror. Then, smacking his lips and frowning, he questioned Mom, "Didn't we agree to let her grow her hair out? How come you shaved it off again so quickly? What's wrong with shaving it? I'm doing this for her own good," Mom retorted righteously. "She's going to military training camp as soon as she gets to university. It'll be hot and stuffy with a messy head of hair. Don't forget, she's never liked being clean. What if her hair gets smelly and disgusting? Won't that be awful?" Dad rubbed the sleep from the corners of his eyes and, as he had done countless times before, tried to smooth things over. All right, stop arguing. Your mom is doing this for you. Hurry up and pack your things. We need to catch the train soon. Don't forget you have to register at university today." "For my own good?" "What do you mean, for my own good?" Dad's ambiguous attitude felt like a bucket of ice water being poured over my head. I couldn't help but point at Mom's head of carefully maintained, dark, and lustrous hair. I'm an 18-year-old adult. Don't I even deserve to have my own hair? If having a bald head is so great, why doesn't she shave her own head? With a smack, Mom dropped the spatula and slapped me hard across the face. "Ashley Smith, Ashley, I've really spoiled you. I've worked so hard to give birth to you and raise you all these years, providing you with food and drink. And this is how you repay me, by pointing your finger at me like that? I've taught you since you were little that every excellent, successful woman relies on her own strength and ability. Who depends on their hair? How come you're suddenly so obsessed with your hair as soon as you get into university? I don't think you actually want to study. You just want to seduce men, to find a sugar daddy and get something for nothing." The more Mom spoke, the more agitated she became. She grabbed my acceptance letter and threatened to tear it up in front of me. In that case, we might as well cancel the ticket. You're not going to university. Just stay at home. It'll save me the worry of you becoming a homewrecker and getting beaten to death. Back then, Dad was originally Mom's best friend's boyfriend. Mom took a liking to Dad's family's favorable conditions, so she didn't hesitate to get pregnant to secure her position. Because of her own experience, in Mom's eyes, all the women in the world were indecent, including her own biological daughter. Mom had always been like this. As long as I showed any sign of disobeying her authority, she would accurately identify the thing I cared about the most and ruthlessly use it against me. When I was 6 years old, I simply refused to eat scrambled eggs because they made it difficult for me to breathe. She tore up the math homework I had painstakingly worked on all night and called my math teacher to tell him that I was deliberately lying. The strict old teacher was so disappointed in me that I had to stand next to the podium with a bald head for all 6 years of elementary school math class. When I was in the 8th grade, I pushed away her hand for the first time when she tried to shave my head. She cut up all the feminine hygiene pads in the house. Even though I knelt and begged her for forgiveness, she forced me to walk to school in blood-stained pants as a way to teach me a lesson. When I was in the 12th grade, I refused to use the second-hand practice exams she had bought, so she cut off my allowance during the most critical year of my life. If it hadn't been for the community food bank and the help from my teachers and classmates, I'm afraid I would have starved to death that winter when I was 18 years old. And here we are again today. She knows that the university and the major I'm in are the greatest ideals of my life. The day I received my acceptance letter, I was so excited that I couldn't sleep all night. In order to study at my dream university, I had to compromise once again, kneeling and begging Mom for forgiveness. Mom, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I was just acting impulsively just now. Mom, please don't tear up my acceptance letter. It's my fault. I shouldn't have talked back to you. I really know I was wrong. I don't remember how many times I knelt and begged earnestly to Mom before she slowly tossed the acceptance letter in front of me and spoke like a benevolent queen pardoning a criminal. All right, hurry up and pack your things. After kneeling on the tile floor for so long, I struggled to stand up, instinctively wanting someone to help me. But I found that Dad had already moved away from the center of the conflict and was sitting at the dining table, sipping warm oatmeal from a slow cooker. To punish me for this act of defiance, Mom confiscated the savings I had earned from my tutoring job over the summer and cut my already meager allowance to a third of what it was before. Most importantly, she took out all the hats and scarves in my luggage, demanding that I enter the university gates with this patchy, shaved head, so that I would become the laughingstock of the entire university for the next 4 years on the very first day. The freshman registration area at the university was packed with people. Everyone who saw my bald head couldn't help but discuss it. Some people said that I was suffering from a serious illness that caused hair loss. Others said that I must have sores on my head that might be contagious. Still others said that I was just trying to be different and stand out from the crowd. But without exception, everyone kept their distance from me. No matter how many years passed, I could never get used to those looks. I lowered my head and let Mom pull me through the crowd. She helped me fill out forms, pick up bedding, and load money onto my meal card, meticulously arranging everything for me. Dad silently carried my heavy luggage, following us all the way. And I, with my strange bald head and empty hands, let them take care of everything. To outsiders, I was their pampered darling. Little did they know that this was how they always were. They acted like they were working hard in front of outsiders so that if I ever had a conflict with them in the future, everyone would side with them in an instant. After completing the enrollment procedures, we came to the freshman dorm with the help of senior students. Seeing that several roommates were already unpacking, Mom opened her mouth with the first sentence. "Hello everyone, this is my daughter, Ashley Smith, Ashley Yu. She will be your classmate from now on." She's not very bright, so I hope you can all take care of her in the future." The roommates, who were not yet familiar with each other, looked at each other, then looked at the bald head on my head and then back at Mom. They could only nod awkwardly but politely. Mom, thinking that she had received a response, became happy. While making my bed, she began to ramble on about all the embarrassing things I had done since I was a child. I pursed my lips tightly, not knowing how to defend myself, and could only comfort myself. "She'll be leaving soon. As long as I get through today, she'll be gone. For the next 4 years, as long as I work hard, I'll never have to go back to that house again. As long as I get through today, I'll be free." But even when it was almost dusk and all the roommates had gone out to eat, Mom and I were still sitting there, staring at each other. Finally, I mustered up the courage to ask, "Mom, what time is your train ticket? Is Dad still waiting for you at the train station?" "What train ticket? I'm not leaving today." Mom's triumphant tone was as if she was showing off to her own daughter. "Didn't you know? I passed the company's promotion report a few days ago. As long as I pass the headquarters interview, your school happens to be very close to my interview location. I'll leave after I go to the interview next week. It's also a good opportunity to see how you're doing at university." My heart sank, and I could only weakly defend, "Mom, the school stipulates that parents are not allowed to stay in the dorms. How about I book a hotel for you?" My voice was very soft, afraid that if I said something wrong, she would suddenly go crazy and cut off my allowance like she did at home. "Hotel? Doesn't staying in a hotel cost money? What's wrong with sleeping in your dorm? You don't have to worry about it. I'll talk to your advisor myself." I don't know what she said to my advisor. I only know that she succeeded in staying. And from then on, the way my advisor looked at me completely changed to contempt. The second day of freshman registration was the start of military training camp. At 4 o'clock in the morning, Mom forced me to put on my uniform and stand on the large playground downstairs. She said that on the first day of school, I had to leave a diligent and serious impression on the instructors and teachers. Military training camp didn't officially start until 8 o'clock in the morning. Severely sleep-deprived, I felt dizzy from the sun and almost fell several times. Suddenly, a bottle of ice-cold water was poured over my head and down to my feet. Mom was holding a parasol and a bottle of bottled water with ice in her hand. She said righteously, "Who told you to slack off? Everyone else is persevering. Why are you such a princess?" I awkwardly perked up, my eyes filled with a mixture of ice water, sweat, and tears, blurring my vision. Everyone sneered at my laziness. Who cared that under Mom's inexplicable coercion, I had stood there for 4 hours longer than everyone else? During the break, to liven up the atmosphere, the instructor asked students with talents to volunteer to perform on stage. Mom was also sitting among our group of freshmen, constantly poking my shoulder with her elbow. Ever since I could remember, I had been self-conscious about my bald head. No matter what the occasion, I was used to minimizing my presence. Faced with Mom's encouragement, I kept my head down and didn't dare to go forward. After several attempts, Mom ran out of patience. After a student finished a wonderful dance performance, she pushed me into the middle of the crowd, and I clutched at the hem of my clothes nervously, desperately protecting the hat issued from military training camp on my head. The previously lively atmosphere instantly cooled down because of my appearance. Mom rolled her eyes, strode into the middle of the crowd, grabbed my hand, and said, "What a waste! It's just performing a talent. How are you going to survive in society like this in the future? It's laughable." Mom's off-key voice and wild, uncoordinated dance steps successfully attracted everyone's attention. Mockery, judgment, disgust, contempt. All the expressions on the faces of the people below the stage made me want to run away. However, no matter how hard I struggled, Mom's hand always held me in place, forcing me to accept the baptism of these gazes. In despair, I could only squat down on the spot and cry helplessly. That day, I became famous for crying on the military training camp parade ground. Ashley Smith, Ashley U, a freshman in the Department of Finance, was known to be a spoiled mama's girl. On the campus forum, memes derived from the video of me squatting on the ground and crying spread like wildfire. Mom pulled my roommates to collect them one by one. Then she forwarded them to her family WhatsApp group, classmates' Facebook Rope, and even the neighborhood buy-in group chat. She even started a forwarding lottery in her own Facebook timeline, as if she wouldn't rest until she spread these embarrassing photos of me all over the world. I begged Mom bitterly, asking her to stop spreading these photos. Mom crossed her arms and looked at me leisurely. You have the guts to threaten me with death again. If I say I won't post them if you die, will you die? If I say I won't post them if you jump off a building, will you jump? I was stunned. It turned out that her punishment for me that day was far from over. In the following days, Mom continued to do everything in her power to demonstrate her authority. During military training camp, when the instructor held my arm to guide me through the movements, she would rush up and push me, accusing me of deliberately not learning so that I could seduce the instructor. She would also wash all my underwear while I was sweating profusely on the parade ground, forcing me to participate in training without wearing anything under my military training camp camouflage uniform. The intense feeling of unease made me hunch my back when I ran. The strange posture was incomprehensible to the young instructor. He immediately punished me by making me run 3 laps around the school's 1,000-meter parade ground with my chest out. From then on, there was one more meme of me being spread on the campus forum. A week later, the night before Mom's interview, Mom bought all my roommates a gift. On the surface, she said she was asking them to take care of me. But in reality, you must be careful of her in the future. Don't use the same washing machine as her. She's so dirty and can't be taught no matter what. She still wets the bed in high school. Every time I wash her underwear at home, it's either covered in poop or pee. She's never liked washing her hair since she was little. There were even times when lice grew in her hair and she still refused to wash it. She'd rather have a bald head than clean herself up. Also, you must be careful of her. She's always liked stealing other people's things and likes to pretend to be pitiful. If you have a boyfriend, you must stay away from her, or you won't even know how you broke up. Curled up on the narrow single bed, the hot air of early autumn made me feel colder than ever before. I really wanted to ask Mom, didn't she know why I wet the bed in high school? And since when did I ever steal anyone's things? It turned out that Mom didn't love me at all. She just wanted to use my awfulness to highlight her greatness, shamelessly humiliating and manipulating me in the name of doing what was best for me. At that moment, I completely lost hope in maternal love. Since she said that everything she did was for my own good, then I would return everything you did to me. Late at night, Mom was occupying the entire double bed and sleeping soundly. I took out the sharp scissors from my suitcase and cut at her carefully maintained hair. The next morning, in the bathroom sink, the entire dorm building heard Mom's screams. She looked at her scalp in the mirror, which had been shaved as short as mine, and pounded the countertop of the bathroom sink in disbelief. I crossed my arms and leaned against the doorframe, watching her collapse with a smile. I felt extremely happy. The roommates who had been awakened by the noise were taken aback when they saw Mom's appearance. Then they scrambled to take photos of her bald head. Auntie, you're so cool. This is the first time I've seen someone your age have the courage to do this. Yeah, Auntie, don't hide. I'll take a short video of you. I guarantee you'll become famous. So the scalp of an old person will sag. Auntie, can I touch it? Mom screamed hysterically, clutching her head and constantly dodging the flashes from her roommates' cameras. They had no empathy at all. To them, Mom and I were both just part of the Hall of Fame for bizarre humans, a diversion from their boring campus life. In fact, Sarah Davis, Sarah Lynn, who lived in the bed opposite mine, had woken up when I was shaving Mom's hair last night and had even made eye contact with me. However, she didn't stop me. She just pretended she didn't see anything. In a panic, Mom met my smiling gaze. She immediately understood and, with tears streaming down her face, swung her palm at me. Ashley Smith, Ashley, you little bitch. Do you know how important today's interview is? How dare you harm your own mother? I deftly turned my head to the side, causing Mom's slap to miss. Mom, what do you mean by that? I'm doing this for your own good. It's so hot these days. You have to get up so early for the interview, and washing and blow-drying your hair takes so much time and effort. It's so much better this way. It's clean, neat, and saves time. Ashley Smith, Ashley, you're doing this on purpose. You're making me look like this. How am I supposed to face people like this? Do you think I'm you? So shameless. Daring to parade around with a bald head. Due to inertia, Mom spun around and threw herself onto the ground. Sitting there, she became even more distraught, pointing her finger at me and brazenly distorting the truth. Mom, didn't you say that a bald head is the best hairstyle for a woman? Men won't have impure thoughts when they see it. Besides, what does success have to do with hair for a capable woman like you? The company values your ability. Even if you have sores all over your head, they'll still promote you. As she spoke, I imitated Mom's appearance from that day, covering my mouth in feigned surprise. Oh my God! Mom, you care so much about your hair. Don't tell me you want to take the opportunity to seduce your boss. Mom, being a homewrecker is immoral. After saying that, I dialed the voice call for each of the elders in the family WhatsApp group in Mom's shocked gaze. Every time I got through to one, I would burst into tears and sob to them. Aunt Beatrice, please, I beg you to persuade my mother. Don't go be a homewrecker to the male leader of her company. It's immoral to destroy other people's families. Aunt Sarah, please persuade my mother. She's going to be a homewrecker to the big boss at headquarters in order to climb the ladder. Our family didn't have it easy to get where it is today. I will definitely take good care of her after I graduate from university. Grandma Wendy, Mom usually listens to you the most. You also know that Dad and Mom have been married for 20 years, and things are about to get better. If she has an affair at this time, how am I going to explain it to Dad? After my tearful complaints, a flurry of calls flooded into Mom's phone from relatives. She couldn't answer them and couldn't not answer them. Before long, Mom's mental state completely collapsed. She didn't even have the courage to attend the interview that day. In the afternoon, she scurried onto the return train and ran back to our own home. I later learned that Mom had not actually been eligible for a promotion. It was just that the headquarters wanted to parachute in an internal leader to her local branch and needed to go through the motions. Mom and a few of her other colleagues were just there to accompany her. In fact, no one else took the interview to heart. Only Mom was careful and paid great attention to it. Because she had always been ambitious and unwilling to spend her life as an unknown clerk in a small local branch, she seized the opportunity to let the local branch leader take another look at her. Maybe she could accidentally achieve a class leap. The reason why Mom collapsed that day after having her hair shaved off was partly because her image was damaged, but more because I had hit on her thoughts in a few words. After Mom left, military training camp also ended. I officially began my university life. Without Mom's interference, I grew my hair back. I re-established my image in front of my classmates and advisors. Everything was moving in the best direction. However, Mom, who had been competitive all her life, had never suffered such humiliation. In order to force me to lower my head and admit my mistake, she first went to the president's office to make a scene. But as the only student in the school with a state-level scholarship, the president and director were unwilling to give up this good seed who could win glory for the school. Seeing that it was hopeless to get me to withdraw from school, Mom cut off my tuition and allowance all at once, and threatened that even if I starved to death at school, she would never show up to collect my body. Faced with Mom's almost insane behavior, I was used to it. After giving up on this maternal love, those hurts that once caused me so much pain could no longer hurt me in the slightest. After becoming an adult, I was no longer the child who could only hide in the cafeteria and drink free soup. Without tuition or allowance, the high scholarship and the experimental funds from the project team I participated in were enough to support my university life for 4 years. On the other hand, Mom damaged the hair follicles with unsanitized scissors. Even if the shaved hair grew back, it was still patchy. She went to beauty salons and hospitals countless times, but she was never able to restore her hair to its former dark and smooth state. The company she was so proud of also fired her for her poor image, lack of ability, and frequent absenteeism. Unemployed at home, she became even more manic and began to spread the story that I was selling my body at school for tuition and allowance. Mom always acted without regard for the consequences. But she forgot that I was their daughter. All the stains on me were also indelible dirt on their faces. The unstoppable rumors reached Dad's company, and even his usual partners heard a few words. It also ruined a $30 million deal. Dad was usually a hands-off person at home. He never participated in or mediated the conflict between Mom and me, and even turned a blind eye to it. But once things touched his interests, he became a lit firecracker. That day, it was the first time in 18 years that he hit Mom and gave her an ultimatum. If she talked nonsense one more time, he would divorce her immediately and let her leave with nothing. Mom suffered a great loss at Dad's place. She turned around and kicked me out of the family WhatsApp group and threw me into the blacklist. This seemed to be Mom's last resort to manipulate me. Little did she know that her behavior was what I wanted. I originally thought that I would never have any contact with that family again. Until the summer of my sophomore year, when I returned from my part-time job with a suitcase, a group of strange people carrying cameras and microphones stopped me. "Hello, are you Ashley Smith? Ashley you?" I nodded suspiciously. "That's her, then take her away." The producer in charge gave a look to the people behind him. Before I could react, I was grabbed by the arms by 2 strong men and dragged towards an unknown van. Instinctively, I struggled desperately, kicking my legs. In my panic, I even broke a trash can on the side of the road. Passers-by who saw the cameras filming didn't dare to come forward rashly. They let me shout myself hoarse, and no one came to stop me. It wasn't until I got into the program crew's filming vehicle that the producer explained to me. "I'm sorry, Ashley Smith, Ashley you. We're the makeover program crew. Your mother signed you up. The scene just now was for the program's effect. I think you can understand, right?" As he spoke, the producer played a video for me. In the video, Mom was wearing a wig and sobbing softly as she accused me. This child, I really can't control her. I kindly wanted to spend a few days of university life with her, but she shaved my head in a fit of anger, causing me to lose my job and worrying her dad so much that he doesn't want to come home all day long. I hope the program crew can help me and return a well-behaved, obedient, and kind daughter to me. The video ended. I sighed deeply and said to the producer, "Uncle Producer, I think you might have been deceived by Mom. That's not how it happened." As I spoke, I explained the true ins and outs of the matter to him. "So that's how it is? Your identity and grades really shouldn't qualify you for our show. But the budget for our show has already been made. If you don't participate, who will be responsible for the losses of our production team?" The producer frowned and asked. It's okay, Uncle Producer, I guarantee you won't suffer any losses. I saw online the other day that your show Transformation is about to start a new spin-off program, and no one has signed up yet. Maybe we can do this. I waved my hand, signaling the producer to lean in. I told him the plan I had just conceived in my mind. 2 days later, Mom and I were put on a bus heading for the Appalachian Mountains. Along the way, Mom chattered incessantly in my ear. If you kneel down and beg me now, hand over all your scholarship money obediently, and promise to be my slave at home forever, I might consider letting you suffer a few less days in these mountains. If you continue to be so stubborn, I'll just marry you off to an old bachelor in these mountains. Anyway, in the eyes of outsiders now, you're a complete slut. I silently crossed my arms, closed my eyes, and rested, treating Mom's words as worthless drivel. In the blink of an eye, the bus drove into the remote mountains. It stopped next to a muddy dirt road. Mom excitedly directed the staff on the bus. Quick, drag this little bitch down. Teach her a good lesson. The staff, while organizing their equipment, got up and grabbed Mom's arm, pulling her up from her seat. Mom shook her head in confusion. No, you've got the wrong person. You've really got the wrong person. I'm not participating in transformation. My daughter is. Why are you pulling me? Just then, the white paper covering the banner in front of the bus fell off. Before the words transformation, there were 3 more words, ugly wife transformation. Mom finally realized what was happening. Her face filled with terror, she grabbed the door of the bus, refusing to let go. What the hell is going on? Isn't this the transformation production team? Why has it become like this? Why has it become like this? The producer looked at her with a smile. Ms. Alice Brown, we are a spin-off program of transformation, specializing in reforming willful housewives who destroy families. Your daughter has told us about your daily behavior. You are fully qualified to participate in our program. The transformation period is 3 months. During these 3 months, you will be the wife of David Wilson, David Dean, a villager who receives government assistance, and take care of his family of 16. We hope that the harsh life here will make you understand how happy your family was before. Mom was stunned when she heard this. Then she lunged forward to scratch my face. Ashley Smith, Ashley, you little bitch, you're going to die a horrible death. You dare to harm your own mother. You dare to harm your own mother? I sat in my seat on the bus, feigning grievance, and waved to her. Mom, don't blame me. I'm doing this for your own good, for the good of our family. Just focus on your transformation. Dad and I are waiting for you to come back. In the end, Mom was dragged into her husband's house in the Appalachian Mountains. Her hands scratched at the ground, leaving streaks of blood. Sitting on the bus, I felt a moment of pity. But I quickly dismissed the thought. If I were the one lying on the ground now, Mom would not have felt any pity. She would even gloat and tell the bus driver to drive faster. 3 months later, Mom was finally released from the Appalachian Mountains. During these 3 months, she had to get up at 4 in the morning every day to feed the pigs and cook. She had to take care of the eating, drinking, and bathroom needs of a large family. The cruel mother-in-law in the Appalachian Mountains would find fault with every meal for the sake of the show. The unruly children in the mountains would spit in her face at the slightest dissatisfaction. More than once, she imagined setting rules for that family in the mountains, just like she used to at home. But the mountain man's slaps were not to be trifled with. If she showed the slightest dissatisfaction with that family, his iron-fisted punch would come down on her, leaving her body covered in bruises. She asked the production team for help, wanting to call the police and end the filming early. But the production team said that this was the central idea of their show. Only when the conditions in the mountains were harsh enough and the suffering was great enough would the city wife realize how comfortable and peaceful her previous life had been. Only after the transformation would she cherish it more, and the effect of the show would be exceptionally good. After 3 months of ordeal, Mom's hands, which had been pampered for years, were covered in scars and calluses. Her once fair skin was tanned dark, and the clothes, shoes, and small amount of cash she had brought to the mountains were all taken by that family. The production team was only responsible for putting Mom on the train back. After getting off the train, she had no money for the distance from the train station to home, so she had to walk back step by step. Mom walked over 10 miles, her feet bleeding. The moment she walked into the house, she saw her husband rolling around in bed with her former best friend, Lisa Snow. Mom went crazy on the spot, grabbing both of them and trying to take them down with her. However, Mom, who was already physically exhausted, could not possibly defeat 2 strong middle-aged men and women. Before long, Mom was pinned to the ground with Dad's foot on her head. Her best friend, Lisa Snow, draped in her silk pajamas, laughed wantonly. Alice Brown, what right do you have to shout? Don't forget, you owe me this. Dad raised Mom's chin with his toe, looking down at her. Alice Brown, I've treated you fairly well for the past 20 years. I might as well tell you, I've never lost contact with Lisa Snow. If Lisa Snow hadn't been unable to have children, do you think I would have wanted you and that little bitch you gave birth to? At this point, it was impossible for the two of them to continue living together. Dad filed for divorce. In terms of property, Mom surprisingly didn't argue too much. She only wanted a piece of real estate that wasn't worth much and a few $100,000 in cash. Because the production team had constantly brainwashed her during filming, saying that the show's effect was the best they had ever seen in their decades of work. So Mom firmly believed that she would become a huge star after the show aired. The reason why she quickly finalized the divorce agreement with Dad was because she was afraid that once the show aired and she became a sensation, those earnings would become marital property and would have to be split with Dad. So she divorced Dad as quickly as possible and used the property she received from the divorce to package herself as a star. A month later, the show aired as scheduled, but it was immediately suspended after only 1 episode. The ugly faces of the ignorant people in the Appalachian Mountains and the scenes of domestic violence by the male host made people feel physically uncomfortable. In the only broadcasted footage, Mom's face was pixelated throughout, and no one knew who she was. She called the production team countless times to negotiate. She even listened to the person in charge of the show and sold her only piece of real estate, giving all the money to that person in order to smooth things over and get the show back on the air. Mom huddled in her small rental apartment, waiting, hoping, and expecting. She always felt that she could become a sensation at the age of 45. But what she ultimately received was an official announcement. The announcement stated that the Ugly Wife Transformation production team was suspected of illegal filming and was involved in several cases of trafficking women to the Appalachian Mountains. The entire production team was disbanded with immediate effect. All members of the production team were to await police investigation. 10. The day the production team was taken away by the police was Dad and Lisa Snow's wedding. I was in the Pacific Northwest inspecting a project and didn't pay much attention to it. It wasn't until I received a call from the police that I found out. That day, Dad and Lisa Snow had just walked hand in hand onto the red carpet when Mom rushed into the wedding venue with a knife. Lisa Snow was stabbed 16 times and died on the spot. Dad was stabbed 9 times and became a vegetable. Upon receiving the news, I put down my work and flew back to my long-lost hometown. At the police station, Mom was crying uncontrollably. When she saw me, it was as if she had seen a long-lost lifeline. Ashley Smith, my baby, I knew you wouldn't abandon Mom. Please. As long as you sign this letter of understanding, Mom will get a lighter sentence. Also, Aren't you involved in a research project now? Help mom get a psychiatric evaluation. That way, mom won't have to go to jail. I calmly looked at her and shook my head. I believe that justice is fair and will give you a fair verdict. If I sign this letter of understanding, I will be letting down Dad and Aunt Lisa Snow, who was killed by you. No! Ashley Smith. Mom begs you. Mom can't spend so long in jail. Mom was wrong before. Mom was wrong. Just save mom this one time. Mom promises to be the best mom for you. With a thump, mom knelt down in front of me, pathetically tugging at my pants. Many years ago, I had also knelt in front of her, begging her for a feminine hygiene pads. Begging her for $10 to buy the cheapest. She had refused me. She never seemed to have imagined that, more than a decade later, the boomerang would hit her right between the eyebrows. In the end, Mom was sentenced to 20 years in prison. If nothing unexpected happened, she would spend the rest of her life in prison. After taking care of everything, I sent Dad to a nursing home, using his insurance money to pay for his monthly care expenses. Then, as the sole heir, I disposed of all the property left by my parents and boarded a plane back to the Pacific Northwest. As the plane took off, the scenery below grew smaller and smaller. I thought, this unhappy family of origin would never appear in my life again.